We on? JDR Sportscards. I'm JD.
Chris,
Chris, what's up, man?
what's going on, bro? Long time no see. You on vacation?
Yeah, a little vacay. I always think about a million things that I want to ask you. I never write them down. I just want to ask you a couple questions off the rip. And I get excited. Our sports card portfolio is fucking killer. We have such good cards. You pick such good cards. You really do. And since I've seen you last, I've probably run into at least, no kidding, a dozen people. They're like, "Oh, you're in the sports card business?" Yeah. They're like, I love sports. I used to have 1,000 hockey cards. I have 1,000 basketball cards, and I laughed to myself because if only that's all it took to find someone who could do this job. What's the difference between somebody who knows sports and has collected cards when they were a kid and like a real sports card trading broker who knows how to make money?
Well, everyone loves sports, and, there's tons of people that collected cards when they were a kid or collected Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or sports, baseball, football, whatever it may be. And there's a lot of collectors that, are hobbyists. They do know the game. But, the difference between just a person who had cards when they were a kid and thinks they know and between a broker who's successful is a lot of things. You have to be able to identify talent before they do what they're supposed to do. You need to know when to buy and when to sell. You need to know how to buy. You need to know how to not get scammed. You need to know how to check comps, how to make sure the comps are real, how to make sure that you're paying the right price. And then it's really a timing game, when the right time to buy and then picking the right time to sell.
And like, let's say, if a guy happened to be a sports fan forever, which is very likely, and they know a legacy player, do you know if those cards are worth buying? And like, do they go up every year? Do you know the appreciation typically on a legacy player who's not playing anymore? Do you know which brand of card to buy for that player? Do you know where to go to find that card, that brand of card? And if you're going online, do you know who's a scammer, who's not? How do you discern? How do you figure out the difference?
And another big thing that fans and people like that get in trouble with is favoritism and bias towards their home teams. You may have some sort of favoritism or bias towards the guy because you like him, or towards the team because you like him, and maybe it's the time to get out. It's someone just went up, it's time to sell, but you don't sell it because you got an emotional attachment to it. You don't want to, and you hold it a little too long and you missed your chance. So that can happen a lot too. Or maybe you like this guy because he's on your team and you pay over on him and you're thinking he's gonna go, and you didn't. He doesn't turn out. So that's another big thing when you're a fan of the game and when you're a fan of guys. You have to separate that from the business aspect.
I'm gonna play you that exact clip when we're holding on to a bunch of anything Philadelphia and you don't want to fucking let it go.
Listen, if they're paying good money for it, it don't matter if it's Philly, who it is, they can go.
What we did that was cool. One of the first shows we ever went to together, the guy at his table had all the Philly stuff because we were in a Philly show. We're going to a Philly show in a couple of days, and we have such a nice display of just Philly stuff just to catch the eye. I mean, you really do buy cool cards. It'll be like jersey patch cards with 3-4 players on it. Some of the cards have 6-7 different patches of all different sports. Eagle stuff that's featured, all cards that are for sale, some stuff very high end, some stuff just cool as shit, but just like a really nice display of Philadelphia, let's pay homage type of cards. I
wanted to make sure that we not only got cards that are liquid, but I wanted to get things that bring people in and attract the eye. So we're going to be going to a show in Philly. Obviously everyone there is going to be Philly fans and Philly collectors. I just thought about the things that stood out to me when I walk around a show. And, that's the cards I try and grab, the cards that are going to catch people's eye and make them stop at your table and look at all the rest of the stuff. Because mostly what people do is they're walking by and they're skimming quickly, and they'll see one or two or a few cards that catches their eye. They'll stop to view that one, and then that's when they really take a deep look into everything. So you want that stuff that's going to catch people's eye and be memorable. So I tried to get some cards like that, things that I feel like, these are showstoppers, and even if there's a little smaller margin on them, or even if it's something that, you want to hold a little longer, it's something that I want in the case because I know it's an eye catcher and it's going to bring people in.
A lot of people that know a lot about sports and players and been doing it since they were a kid. I mean, the first thing I think of is, I mean, you're nowhere close to me being able to actually consider you as a card broker, because everybody might know a good player, and you know, and they might know sports, but they don't know the nuances, like how to set up a table for a show. Right. It's always what you need to do. It's like the guy who's got a million business ideas, but what about the steps involved?
How to market.
That's what I mean about a card broker. It's like the things that you have to do. How do you advertise, right? And you have to make video clips, right? Yep. And then you have to post stuff, and you have to grab people's attention. So it has to be tailor-made to how the public looks at cards and what they respond to. And you can't just know sports. Yep. You can't just be a sports guy who likes to buy packs and you've done it since you were a kid. Right? And I just think that there's a big difference.
There definitely is a big difference between, you know, a collector that just opened up packs and likes the cards, and someone that's actually, you know, going out and turning a profit on the cards. And like you said, those nuances is what makes the difference, you know, knowing how to market what you have, knowing how to buy correctly, knowing when to sell and when to buy, just everything, you know. It's can be very taxing to, you know, keep track of your stock, know how much you paid for every single card, to know the market on every single one of them cards, if they've gone up or down since you bought them and what they're worth now. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of, you know, and a lot of stuff that you need to know in order to do it successfully. But, you know, that's the things that we're in the process of doing now. You know, I'm not the best on social media. We're still experimenting with, you know, what video styles and formats work the best and catch the most eyes and bring in the most people. And, you know, that's one of the things that I'm trying to get better at now. So it's a lot of stuff, and, you know, it takes time to learn all of it. So, you know, you just got to master every aspect of the craft. And
this is fun. I think what we're doing, I think we're maybe 50K in cards, so small considering the size of this industry and what's going on. But I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and we're blessed that we're able to. And one thing is like the hustle, while we figure out everything around the margins, advertising, marketing, posting, and we really are on top of everything, and so we just keep tightening up all the areres. One thing that we really do have is a really nice batch of fucking cards.
We have a great stock of cards. We have a ton of beautiful cards. We have a ton of stuff that's going to be graded, and it's going to bring us great margins. You know, I feel so comfortable. I think
if we wanted to, we could sell 80% of our cards at the show?
At this upcoming show in Philly? No, I don't think so, because that's a smaller show. Now, when we go to the National, I think that we could overturn 75 to 90% of the cards we have, overturn them easy if we're hustling. The National is the biggest show, and there's just so many deals to be made. These smaller shows, everything we have is so liquid. If we want to go and dump everything at 85 or 90%, yeah, we could sell every single card we have, because it's all liquid stuff. It's all stuff that people will buy at 80 to 90% at the snap of a finger.
Some of these cards,
there's not as much money overturning from the customers in there, just because it's a smaller show.
Sure. I'm watching some of these cards. You were talking about one the other day, this morning, and it's guy had one good game. It was a pitcher, had a good game. Then went up against Paul Skeens. They had their little heads up. He kind of outplayed Paul Skeens. His cards went up what percent?
Jacob Mizorowski, the pitcher for the Brewers, his cards went up like I think it was 2,000%. There was one of the cards that it sold for 500, and now it was after a month it was selling for 8K.
It was literally a month. It was 30 days later, which is crazy, and people started bidding them up, so they get a lot of hype, and then it starts to get ahead of itself. Like the card value and price gets over its skis a little bit, where I'd be like, listen, I don't want to pay that price and put so much emphasis on the next game being so good. But if the next game is that good, hey, if you're the guy willing to roll that dice, roll those dice, then when the game is that good, you deserve the upside.
Right, and like I said, I found out about that guy Mizorowski after his first start. At that point, the card that I was looking at was going for around $600, but the last comp on it was around $300. I didn't buy it at the time because I was thinking, he's building up hype off of one game, his value doubled. I'm not going to pay double what the last comp was off a kid who had one start. Well, that kept snowballing and snowballing, and now look, you see that same card is like a $4,000 card. It's like, should have took the risk and jumped in there. It could have been a quick flip, but You know, that's a tough one. You know, sometimes people just blast off over hype, and you know it can be something so minuscule like one game, and then it only takes one bad one for them to dive right back down if the one game is the only thing that brought them up.
The way I see it, and that's what I was saying to you before, is that when things settle down for this guy, and that hype wears off, it seems like he has the skill and ability to put together an amazing career. So maybe wait till the prices come back down, the hype wears off, then buy some of the cards, and let the guy play for a year or two or three.
Exactly.
And we're not going to make 1,500%. Or the way I'm learning as far as how cards trade, maybe we will. But if I could turn around and get a few cards, and I'm coming from trading in stocks, I'm very conservative. I come from trading in coins, which is an old dog, kind of boring investment asset class, not crazy movement. Cards is more new, more exciting, and the yields or how much money you can make on your money is a lot faster. But if I could wait till the hype dies down, and then in a few seasons we make 400 or 500% on our money, and we happen to have 10, 20, 50K of that stuff, it's like,
well,
I'm happy with that.
Oh, without a doubt. That's the thing. Like, if you would have stocked up on Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge rookie cards when they first came into the league, you know, like you said, if you would have bought 50K in Aaron Judge, or just say you use Ohtani, if you would have bought 50K in Ohtani rookie cards when he came up 7 or 8 years ago, you'd be a millionaire right now.
That's like buying companies like way early before they hit. What about when people already know that the guy's a player? Like, you get involved. Like, what if you got Ohtani when he got
that was Ohtani
when he caught the contract on the Dodgers?
So yeah, you would have still went up by now, but that was Ohtani. He was coming over from Japan. They knew he was going to be a superstar. So he had big hype coming in, and he had a great rookie season. He won Rookie of the Year. He smashed. Let's say you bought it after his rookie season, after everyone knew he was going to be a star. You'd still be a millionaire because he's just steadily gone up and up and up.
Sounds like the same as it's obvious he has a lot of skill. It sounds like the same as the rookie pitcher we're talking about right now. It's like, I don't want it when it's this high, but when it comes down to normal, comes back down to normal, it's like the guy has so much skill. Buy a few of those.
A good time to buy this kid would be in the off season. After this offseason, because right now he just came in. His hype is booming. Unless he has a bad game, that could level him down or bring him back down. But if not, he's just going to keep staying up. The off season, when the hype's out, no one's really thinking about baseball. That's when he'll level back down, and that's when you would want to buy him. And then he would be a long hold, you know, as a guy like you said that's going to put together an amazing career.
Building portfolios is cool, and if you have in your head, like, I know what stocks I own, I know what stuff I'm holding for the short term, and I'm gonna take money off the table and take profits. I know which stuff I'm holding for the midterm. For the long term, cards are the same way. Some of these players that we're holding, I mean, if the season starts off right for some of these cards, just based on looking at these numbers and how they go up in value, some of these freaking cards will go up 200-300% from one game. You know, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what I was saying. You know, if you believe in a guy and you buy him up when he's down, you buy him up in the off season, and then as soon as they have that big game, their stuff just takes off because everyone's trying to grab it before everyone else. You know. Oh, he just had a big game. I'm going to be the first one to jump on him before everyone else does. And that pushes the price up, that pushes the demand up, and that pushes the value up. And, you know, if you collected a ton of that guy's stuff, you could cash out right there, then and there, after one game. It happens all the time.
How hard is buying cards online with all the scams out there? So you know sports, you know what you're looking for, you know what a good card looks like. And I'm sure a lot of people do. So maybe you're not, there's the guy who just loved sports as a kid. Then there's the guy who makes good picks, and I could be like, okay, but you're still not a card broker yet. The next step is, do you know how to execute in the sport, in the card world, which is you have to buy online.
There's nuances you have to know. You know, like for example, when we first got back into it, I hadn't been buying heavily online like that through social media, and it was always standard to get what they call a coin photo. You know, it's just a picture of the card with name and date in it. So you know that the person actually has the card in their possession. So coin photo was the standard when I was heavily buying online. When I got back into it, I got a coin photo from someone and they turned out to scam us. What I found out after that, video coin is the standard now, because photoshoppers have gotten so good that they can photoshop their name and date onto a sticky note next to the picture of the card, but they can't do it with video. So there's just little nuances like that. You got to know to ask for the coin photo. There's little things to look for in the pictures of the videos, little behaviors that you just know from experience, but it's very difficult. Look, we got scammed, by 2 different people when we first jumped back in and started buying. God willing, we had PayPal GNS, which, protects you for the majority of sales like that. But, there's still a lot of things. We passed on a lot of people, and then after that, remember, I was pointing little things out that most people wouldn't notice about the photos or the videos that people were providing that were just red flags.
It's like, it reminds me of like if you first get into real estate and people that have experience versus people who don't. And the people that have experience know these little things to look for. Right. And the people that don't might be very smart, educated, ready to go, but there's only there's a whole new world of information to learn from being in the field doing it. Yeah. And that needs to be made. It needs to be made sure that people know that and are aware of that, because you'll end up burnt, just like any other industry, really.
Right. Well, it's like it comes with experience. Just like you said with real estate. I remember hearing someone about a guy that bought a lot of houses down the shore. When you buy a lot of houses down the shore, that there's a lot of salt damage. Things like the wood gets rotted. I forget exactly what it specifically was that was prone to. The houses were prone to rot under the deck or underneath the patio or whatever it was. And that was something that the guy said I got burned on 10 times before I realized that. When I first started buying houses down the shore, I didn't know to go and check underneath the patio, underneath the deck for salt and water damage until it cost me $10,000 on each of the first 5 houses I bought. Now that's the first thing I go and check before I buy a house down the shore.
And make sure there's some room left when you charge rent versus your mortgage, in case your insurance premiums go up, which happened, and it put people underwater.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't the storm that put them underwater, but the fucking increased insurance premium sure put them underwater, because there's no room. If that insurance premium goes up and it washes away any cash flow that you were going to make on the property, you're screwed. And that's happening everywhere because of all the storms. And it's like, you only learn this stuff as you go. Most industries are a pay to play. You're going to get burned buying trading cards. Right. You're going to get burned buying real estate. Don't waive the inspection, or do, but make sure you know what you're doing. And it's like, these are the little rules that make me laugh when people are like, I love cards. Like, let me come and work. And I'm like, I don't know if you know the difference between a card enthusiast or someone who likes sports and a sports card broker. That's a very niche, specific position. You're an independent contractor on so many different levels, because there's advertising, listing, buying, and these things are skills in and of themselves. And I think that's like my main point.
And today, each one of them takes a lot, each one of them takes a lot.
Everyone's like a job in and of itself.
Yes, definitely.
You're full service, man. Let me ask you this.
We got to get into what happened at Fanatics Fest, man. We got to get into what happened at Fanatics Fest. My guy that we brought up multiple times on this channel before, Roth Cards. Yeah. Last time we were on here, we were talking about a couple of his black Jaden Daniel 101 prisms. He ended up selling it to the owner of the Commanders for $500,000.
Shouts to him for getting himself out there like that too, because I like that, cool cat. But shouts to him for figuring out the way to get himself out there, having the money to buy big cards, making a name for himself, all of that.
Yeah, I like that kid. I like that guy, man. I like his story just from the videos I've watched of him. I like the way he moves. I like his taste in cards. He only buys the biggest and the best of the best. You can tell he's a smart dude. He's a very smart dude. I definitely like watching his stuff to learn from him and kind of, emulate whatever it is he's doing, because he's very successful and I can tell he's very smart and sharp. But yeah, man, that's awesome. Congratulations to him, man. It's a game changer in the hobby, and it definitely opens up a new lane. I think that's something that we're going to see more moving forward. These big, rich owners and moguls investing heavily into their players.
So let me understand it. So I saw the clip. He was at a show or somewhere, and he got a bid on a card that he could have got more money for, a lot more money. It was at Fanatics Fest, but it was from the owner of the team.
From the owner of the team. So,
and the player was there himself with the owner.
Jaden Daniels was there as well with him. So
you get all that media, you get all that attention, and then he got to make the decision on if he wanted to sell the card.
Right.
Would you have sold it?
I would have sold it without a doubt. That's a deal. That's a deal you make even if you're making $1 profit. I feel like, like he said, when that card got pulled, there was a $250,000 bounty on it. He beat that bounty, so you'd have to imagine he paid at least $275 to $300K, maybe more. So let's just say a conservative $275. that he paid for it.
To make
He
any money,
graded
he's
it.
lucky.
That was raw. He graded it. It got a 9.5.
What does it cost to grade a card at that price level, that valuable?
I'm not sure. It's definitely a few thousand. I think he did it with Beckett. I don't
Wouldn't
think
even matter.
Beckett
Small
was-
in comparison. So he's in for 275 or 280. Honestly, to be able to sell a card and have that moment with your name now all over it, you had that moment and experience,
Right.
and actually still make money. Like you said, if you made $1, you do that.
You do make $1. If you made $1, you do
Sports
that.
teams are buying the type of cards that you're buying. The world wants to see what you have. That's good enough.
That's-
the kid probably made $200K off the deal anyway.
Right. The
On top of
market,
it,
he
so.
probably could have got more for it. He didn't want to negotiate or try and blow the deal. He probably could have got more from it from someone else. How much? Who knows? Or if he could have, who knows? What I will say is, like I said, there was a $250,000 bounty for it raw. He beat that. Got it great at 9.5. That increases the value exponentially right there. And this was before the playoffs. Jaden Daniels had an amazing playoffs and a great playoff run after that. So that increases the value even more. So to say that card was probably worth somewhere between 600 and 750,000, I don't think that would be far off to say. But he took the 500 and a signed jersey from Jaden Daniels. He got to meet his favorite player, the guy who was on the card he was selling, and the owner of the Redskins or the Commanders. Awesome.
He said in the follow-up video after that he's like, the price is higher now on all the other ones because dude, the owner of the team.
Yeah.
The owner of the team. Now, what do you think about the owner of the team owns one? So of course now the price is more valuable than the other ones.
Yep.
I wonder what that card's going to sell for down the road when it was now owned by one of the owners of the team, or maybe that one itself. Why do you think they're doing this?
This isn't actually the first person to do this. So the Paul Skeens debut patch. We talked about it before, how Fanatics does this new thing. Whenever a rookie player plays in their first game, they put a special patch on their jersey that says MLB debut, and then after the game, they pull the patch off and they put it in a 1-of-1 card. Just 1 of 1, that's from his rookie game, that patch he wore on his jersey. And those are like the biggest rookie cards for every player. Paul Skeens, obviously the biggest rookie in the last few years, biggest pitcher in the game right now. His sold for like 1.5 million.
Did it? Is he living up to it, by the way? Not to go off topic.
Yeah, he's him and Zach Wheeler are the two favorites for the Cy Young right now. It's going to be him or Wheeler.
There was a guy that was working for me selling coins. All he would ever talk about was Paul Skeens, and I was like, I'd be curious to see.
So Dick's Sporting Goods bought that for 1.5 million. And they display it at the Dick's headquarters.
I'm glad you said that. This is my question for you. Are they buying it as an asset that's going to appreciate?
I think they're buying it as an asset that's going to appreciate a piece of art as well. So, they spend big money to put pieces of memorabilia and art on the wall. Not only is it something like that, it's art, it's memorabilia, it's an asset that's going to appreciate. It's a way to invest in your player, your guys that you have on your team.
Right.
It's so many things in one that's beneficial for why they would do it.
Companies put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and they do it because, let's say we both have $100 million in cash, and I take 10 million of it and I buy some Bitcoin, and it goes up 10x. Now that 10 million turned into 100 by itself, and then I still have the other 90. So now I have 190. You're my competitor. You didn't do the same thing, so you only have 100 million. If you scale that out even to bigger numbers, now I have such a competitive advantage over you because the amount of money I have, because you didn't. Now companies can't afford not to buy Bitcoin. But this whole idea, which is very new and happening every day right now, is about putting assets on your balance sheet. And I was wondering if you think these corporations or these franchises are doing it because they'll be able to 2, 3, 4, 5x their money later. But my only thought was, these franchises are so wealthy that a $500,000 card isn't going to change, amount of cash.
I don't think he'll ever sell that. I don't think he's doing it looking at it like in 10 years, this is going to be a $2 million card and I'm going to be able to sell it for $2 million. He's the owner of the team. I don't think he's ever going to sell it.
The fact that it would be doesn't even matter to him because he's dealing in such a larger amount of money.
Right.
It's really just because how cool is it to have? Like, go to Madison Square Garden. All you see is moments on the wall.
Well, people with that much money want assets. You'd rather have an asset that's worth $2 million than $2 million in cash sitting there doing nothing.
But so is it a money play? It's both. It's both. It's a money play, but how it's like if you're a wealthy guy, you have cool stuff, but some of it you just know it's going to to appreciate, but also you like to display it.
Exactly.
There's like a snob appeal, or just like feeling, how about just being proud of what you have? And it looks awesome in a stadium. Imagine they keep going with this, and there's 100 cards on the wall.
Right, that would look awesome. A different one-of-one card for each one of their best players, and each one has a story. It's awesome, man. It's awesome. I think it's definitely going to take off. I think it's something you're going to start seeing in stadiums across the country, where, you know, these owners and these teams are buying their players big cards and displaying them.
I can't wait, like little museums, man. One thing I always remember about the Garden since I was a kid was they'll have all like the New York Knicks players and whatnot. And you'll see sneakers, or you'll see defining moments on the newspaper clipping.
Tom Brady's doing it. He's opened up his 6th or 7th card vault across the country. He just opened one right next to the Giant Stadium, right next to what's the Giant Stadium called? It's slipping my mind right now, but right next to the Giant Stadium.
All right, JDR Sports Cards. Chris, I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
We got to keep doing this more often.
No doubt.
Catch us at the card shows. Anything that has to do with sports trading cards.
Yes, sir.
We'll be at people.
We'll be at the Brotherly Love Show in Voorhees this Sunday, the 14th, and we will also be at National. Hopefully, we'll find a table. Don't have one as of yet. Hopefully, we'll find one, but if not, you can catch us patrolling the floor at National.
Let's go make some money, man.
Let's do it.